All right, I think this is going. I've been meaning to do this for the last couple of days, actually. I'm gonna take off my headphones because I'm not hearing anything. I was just doing audio tests, and now I I forgot to take them off. So I've done a few things on this channel. It's my diary, I guess, channel, where I just keep progress of what I'm learning and what I like to do. And lately, I've been doing one thing that doesn't really translate to video, which is comedy. I've been going up on stage and doing comedy, which I had dreamt of doing since I was like maybe in high school, I think. And I finally did it last week for the first time. And I thought I would share and document my progress and maybe sometimes listen back to my sets because I'm recording my sets. And yeah, just basically doing the work and documenting it for myself, but also maybe someone that wants to do comedy will come across it and see that you can do it and you don't need to be like amazing at it or anything like that, right? Because there's open mics that are very accessible, maybe not in your city, but in mine they are. There's open mics every day pretty much. And let me just move this, it's bothering me a little bit. There's open mics every day pretty much, and which allows you to go and practice and get better, right? So anything that I say here, it's not to teach anything, because I don't have anything to teach, because I don't know what I'm doing really, but I've learned, right? And I want to share what I've been learning, which is a different perspective, I think, and also like to document and to like really just work through things, and it gives me a good excuse to do it, because I've been avoiding, for example, listening to my sets. I've done 4 sets so far, with different degrees of success, and also with different degrees of audience sizes. Like I did a set for like 5 people, I think, yesterday, or 10 people maybe, and I've done it for more. And tonight I'm doing another one at a comedy club that's pretty well known, and they have a night for newbies, right? Which is good for me, because I think it puts the audience a little bit on your side. So yeah, how this happened is I started going to a lot of comedy shows just to watch them, just for fun. And I went to one open mic in which everyone bombed that night. Like, bombing in comedy means like you don't do well, right? No one got any laughs, and I was on a date that day, and the girl was like, "Oh, you're much funnier than them. You're much funnier than them." And like, I'm a big fan of comedy. Like, I love comedy, so I was like, "Hey, I don't think so. It's not easy. Like, it's not working out for them now, but like, it must be terrifying to be up there." And I teach, and already that is like terrifying. So I can't imagine like what it is going up and having people expect you to be funny, right? Everything that you say has to be funny. Still, I kept going to comedy shows, and I kept going to that open mic in particular because I just liked the comics. I didn't like their comedy because I didn't laugh that much, but sometimes some of them I was like, "Oh, this is actually funny. I don't know why people are not laughing." What I figured out that first night actually is that the reason why no one laughed is that people were just practicing their sets, and there was no real audience between me and my date, who's not my friend, so I'll call them my friend from now on. Yeah, so there was no real audience, right? And all the comics, they go to bars together all the time, and they're practicing the same thing over and over. So once you know the jokes, like, it's not funny anymore. So one night, I invited my friend and another friend, 2 friends, and I just went up to the MC, to the host of the show that was at the door, and I asked him, "Hey, how does it work if I ever wanted to try this out, And he's like, "Well, I have spots tonight if you want. Like, you could go after these guys." And I was like, "Oh no, man! Like, I have no jokes. I have like 3 jokes because I've been thinking about doing it, so I started writing jokes." And he's like, "Well, like, I keep saying no," and maybe he insisted like 2 or 3 times, to the point where I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." He's the thing that changed my mind is like something like, it doesn't matter if you have no jokes or if it's not funny. You just got to be courageous, which I didn't get at that point, but like, it was very important. That's true, because it's, yeah. Anyway, so I went up and I had 3 jokes, and I got some laughs, and I did like 3 minutes, right? Usually your spots are like 5 minutes. On an open mic, you get 5 minutes, and I did 3 minutes, and I got some laughs, and there was, I tried out, for example, like, so this bar was bilingual. Like there were a bunch of French people in the back, and they were talking over the show, right? So when I go up, I go like, oh, comedy has always been my dream. But now that I'm doing it, it's more like my reality. It's just me talking and a bunch of French people that don't give a fuck. And that really worked because the crowd that I was working for, or working my set with, or whatever, like telling jokes to, I guess, they were all Anglophones. And there's this big thing in context in Quebec where I live with Anglophones and Francophones. So that worked there. And so it just allowed me to do more jokes. And I did like 2 or 3 more, really, and just talked a little bit, and it was terrifying. Like, I don't remember seeing, like, I think my eyes just stopped working when I was up there, right? And yeah, so that was my first experience, and it was cool. And then I went up a couple more times. I went up like yesterday. Twice, actually. I went to 2 shows yesterday, and the day before that I did another show, which was a little bit bigger, which was nice because there was an audience there. And I have a recording of my second one and of my fourth one. My fourth one was like for 5, 6, 10 people tops that were listening. There may be more people, but like the people that are listening are like 10. And yeah, so besides that, I want to say, like, one of the things that I really like is that some comics are really cool, like as people. They're really fun to hang out with, So I got over like my shyness and my social anxiety, and I just went up to them, and I would ask him questions, and we would talk about jokes and stuff. And most of these people have been doing it for years, and like even people that bombed that first night, they've been doing it for years. And then a lot of them, I saw them again. Because I've performed 4 times, because I went to 4 open mics, but I've also been going to shows. I've been to like maybe 15 shows in the last 2 weeks, or maybe 20 shows, So that's like 20 hours of comedy, like, and really, like, what I'm trying to do is, like, I sit in the front of the audience and I let the comic like roast me, and I learn from that, from the roasting, but also like their ability to think quickly, but also just from like how they're on stage, how they hold the microphone, how they interact with people. And also I learn a lot from people that don't do well, what not to do, right? And at all levels, like there's comics that are really good and they don't do well that night, and they have a way of dealing with it. I'm not trying to teach anything, by the way. I'm just saying like my learning so far. And then there's comics that don't do well and that are not good. But I mean, I don't know if they're not good, because actually, like, to me, going up on stage and having the courage to do it means like you're miles ahead of like other people, and that just made me sound like I'm trying to value myself. But it's true, like it takes a lot of courage, right? So comics that don't do well on a specific night, and they're newer like me, I feel it's often because they don't manage to get the audience on their side. They do a racist joke, or like a lot of young comics are doing like pedophile jokes, which is like, gee, or they're not being true to themselves, right? Like an 18-year-old comic saying, "Oh, I'm getting old," like doing jokes about getting old. It's like that doesn't ring true at all, right? Like that's just not true. You're not getting old, Like talk about being 18 or something. And I'm saying this as an audience member, right? I lose my what is it, like, suspension of disbelief, right? So anyway, those are the things that I've been learning. What else have I learned? Oh yeah, like just the experience of going to the open mic. I like being part of the audience. I like encouraging other comics. I like to get feedback from other comics, and yeah, it's just cool to hang around. Also, it's fun. The nicest people that I've met have been the better comics also, which is weird. Like the really, really, really good ones that are like, fuck, like that I've been doing for 20 years. I just go up to them and I tell them, hey man, I loved your set. Like I've seen it, I don't know, maybe once or twice or whatever. And like, oh man, I really like how you do this. How do you do that? Like, I'm new, like, and they've been like really encouraging, and they've been really, yeah, supportive, and just really open about sharing stuff. Other less experienced comics haven't been as nice, which I find weird, but you know, it's all in the game. It's all good. So the one thing that every comic that's really good has told me is it doesn't matter, like, just have enough jokes to go up on stage and do them. Everything else doesn't matter. Just do it a lot and you'll get better and you'll learn. And I didn't understand what that meant at first. And it makes a lot of sense. Because when you're writing your jokes, you don't know if it's funny. Like, you have a feeling that it's funny. You have an intuition that it's funny, at least to you. But you don't really know it's funny for anyone else, right? At least I don't. Yet, I guess. And that's when you get the confirmation. Are they funny? And am I able to deliver them? You know, like, I have my first open mic, I had 3 jokes. Now I have like 40, I think, because I spent a lot of time writing, and it's hard for me to come up with jokes. But it becomes easier as I do it, or like if I have one joke, then to kind of like tag it, I guess they call it, you know, to add to it. And yeah, I don't know if my jokes are funny, and sometimes they're not funny. Well, I mean, sometimes I've done it 4 times, but I mean, like, let's say there's jokes that I've done, let's say on my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th show, or spot. I don't know what to call these things. Sorry, I don't have the lexicon yet. On my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th open mic, and some of them have worked twice, and then they didn't work the 3rd time. Some of them work intermittently. And every time I change them up a little bit, or how I say them, I try to sound conversational, I guess. Yeah, I'm just learning. I'll do another video where I listen to my 2 sets. I think I'm gonna do this right after. And I've been trying to not do that because I'm terrified to like listen to my voice and actually like maybe I didn't do as good as I thought, or I did. Because I don't think I did terrible. I just don't think I did great either. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't kill. Like, I don't have the ability to do that yet, right? But also, I think all my jokes weren't complete silence. A couple of them completely failed, but some of them got some laughs, right? I'm just afraid that, like, none of them were funny and that people were laughing at me. Like, that's one thing that I'm afraid of, actually, that people are laughing at me, but I don't think they are. I think they're laughing at some places, because I've got a couple of reactions that really, really made me feel good. Yesterday, I got a reaction where I said a joke, and someone said, he was laughing, and he said, "Fuck, that's so true." And I was like, oh, fuck, man, like, this guy's on my side. Then I kept making jokes, and I lost him. But yeah, like, yesterday I did something that didn't work out at all. I tried to do, like, a the predictive text stuff. Like, you go one word, and then you read them, and I tried to make that work, and I just kept going, and I said, oh, we're gonna wait for a punchline, and nothing funny ever came. Yeah, but I had to try it, because to me that was funny, but it wasn't funny, I guess, to that audience and in that context, and maybe it's just not funny at all, I don't know. So I had that reaction, and I had another reaction with my most stupid joke, and the whole room laughed, or at least it felt like that, right? Like, it felt like I got the biggest laugh so far, and that was really cool. Right? That felt really good. I'm trying not to look at myself. I'm trying to look at the camera so that it's conversational, but I'm not used to these things. Oh yeah, also a reason why I'm doing this is to be able to look at myself and see how I express myself and how I come off as, to understand a little bit of like what other people see, right? Because when you go on stage, like, people are gonna make assumptions about you, I feel like, because I do about other comics. So I try to also like put myself in the shoes of the audience to see, hey, how would they, who do they think that I am, Okay, so yeah, the one last thing that I want to talk about on this video is the idea of joke writing. Because as most people that want to do comedy, I think I'm funny with my friends. I'm really funny with my friends. I think I'm like one of my funny friends. Not like I'm I'm one of my friends, funny friends, I guess. But I didn't know, like, obviously that doesn't translate to stage, right? It's fairly obvious that you're funny with your friends, but like these are stories that come with a lot of previous information. They know you, they know who you are, they know you're like, and maybe they know the people involved. So like you can't be telling stories on stage, right? You have to tell jokes. But I didn't know that, right? I've learned that. So I want to share some resources that I use to learn to write jokes, to learn. Like, I'm still using them, right? Hot Breath podcast. There's a lot of interviews with like comedians and how they write their jokes. There's also a couple of episodes with Greg Dean. He does like comedy classes and stuff, and he has a book called Step by Step Stand Up, a little something like that. That book, like, there's no funny jokes in it. Like, to me at least, like, it tells you how to write jokes, but there's nothing funny in it. However, like, the structure and stuff that it tells you about, to me, was really, really useful, because I did not get how a joke works before that. Because, like, I did get like that whole setup and punchline thing, or set up expectations as a surprise, but what does that mean? Like, how do you surprise people, right? And he gives you like very concrete ways on how to do it conceptually. So he doesn't, but then like the examples he comes up with are like bullshit, not funny to me on a book. So maybe if they're on stage, they're fucking funny. I don't know. And then there's another guy, I forget his name. Let me just look it up really quick. I think it's Jerry Corley. Now, the joke doctor, right? He's on Twitter and stuff. This guy, I'm sorry to say, I prefer it to Greg Dean. I don't know if that's like sacrilegious to say, but I find him really funny, very likable. Greg Dean is also likable. I just don't think he's as funny in his writing. Yeah, like, I watch his videos and he tells you like how to write jokes and how they work, and it served me as a template to how to do that. And now I've been writing jokes without even thinking about the structure, and they work on stage. But like, once I write them, I'm like, okay, does this do the, like, is there an expectation? Is there a reveal? Is there like a misdirection? Is there something? It's a little bit like magic, I guess, which by the amount of things that I've been doing in my life, I'll end up doing at some point, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that's really helped me out. And watching a lot of comedy also has helped me out. Going to the shows and being there and seeing comedians do well and do badly. Those two things are really important, because I've done both, and I need to do both, right? Like, I look forward to the day where I get no jokes and no laughs, I mean. And I'm saying that, and I have a spot tonight, and I'm fucking terrified that it will not work out. Yeah, I think that's it, pretty much. I think yeah, I took some notes about, I keep a book where I write where I take notes on videos that I watch, and all the important stuff regarding that. I also have a Notion page where I write down all my jokes. I categorize them, I tag if I've tried them or not, and I rate them, right? That's the intention anyway. I haven't done all that work really, thoroughly, but I'm trying to get there. And what else do I do? The one thing that I don't do is rehearse. I haven't rehearsed ever. But I do it in my head, but I'm kind of like too awkward or too shy to do it by myself. But I'm gonna have to start doing that, or at least record myself saying the jokes, because I feel like I could improve by doing that, and listening to my sets. I haven't done yet, but I'm gonna do that in the next video if I get the courage to do that. So yeah, anyway, I mean, if you want to do stand-up, like, I don't want to give any sort of advice or anything like that, because I don't know what I'm doing, but I would just encourage you, right? And that's not advice, that's just encouragement. Do it, try it out, and see what it is, because it's I don't like the idea of saying that it's terrifying, because it's not terrifying. It's really exciting. It's really difficult, but it's also very gratifying, right? When a joke works, like something that you think is funny, someone else thinks is funny, it makes you feel really good about yourself. at least it does for me. Like I'm also using this like as a self-confidence booster, and just like to work on my self-confidence, and you get both sides. You get success and like big failures, I guess. Yeah, so I've done it 4 times. I'm gonna do it a 5th time tonight, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I told my friend that saw me the first time I was on stage, come see me again once I've done it 10 times, and let's see if I improved. Oh yeah, the one thing that I know that I don't do well is I walk too much on stage. I've been trying not to do that anymore. The first 2 times, that's the feedback that I got. Like, you walk and it doesn't make you look like you're controlling the stage. It makes you look like you're nervous, like you're anxious. So now I try to stand still, but I don't really manage to do it, honestly. Like I still like step to the left, to the right a little bit. Yeah. Another cool thing is just like talking to the crowd. I've done like only small crowds, but it's cool to be able to talk to them and to make them laugh, and just to like get a bigger laugh from an interaction. It's cool also, I feel like, when like they say something and then you can relate it to a joke that you said or something like that. It just like, it adds value to that old joke. Yeah, so I'll be doing these. I'll be trying to do these. I was thinking every time I do a set, but if I do a lot, it's not going to be interesting to you. So every time I feel like I've learned something new, I'll do that. Next time I'm going to listen to my sets. I really don't want to do that, but I'll have to, I think. All right. Yeah, I'm doing comedy, and I'm letting people in the world know. Like, if a friend of mine sees this, like, what the fuck? Well, I'm doing it. It's been a lifelong dream of mine, and I'm having fun doing it. It's cool, getting to meet new people. And yesterday I got a free beer. The other day I got 2 free shooters. Hey, that's cool. And I get to see comedy for free. As a fan of comedy, like, that's so cool to me that I get to see so much comedy for free. So those are my thoughts so far. In a year, I'll be all jaded and be like, I don't want to see comedy anymore. Anyway, all right. See, yeah, they're calling me. Bye.